to skate to one song only.
Is that better? Why are you playing this?
It sounds alright. Okay, it should be okay. Okay, right.
Is that better though?
Are you? Yeah, it is. It's a little bit better. It could be worse. I've recorded with worse. It should be fine. Okay.
Okay, good. Good.
Okay.
Cool.
Hello and welcome to the In the Den podcast. I am your host Craig Denham, and today I am being joined by
Finlay Walsh.
Yes, Finlay Walsh, who has arguably, I think, has won the competition of worst microphone on the In the Den podcast so far.
Oh, I'm not even using the microphone. It's literally the one on my computer. I've got nothing else.
Yeah, but it sounds pretty bad. But we move. We're gonna make it sound as good as we possibly can, and we're gonna try our best. Also, I've just realised that because to make the audio sound really good, I've closed all the windows and turned off my fan, and it is in the middle of a heat wave. And we've got another hour and 20 minutes to go. So
This will be fun.
This will be fun. What will finish first, the podcast or kind of my limits in terms of can I outlast the heat wave? I've got a limited amount of water. I have that's it. I've got a limited amount of water, and that's it. So we will see. We will see if we can.
I'm going solo with it. I haven't got any water. I've turned my fan off. Like,
oh, you're fucked.
if there's just like complete silence halfway through, you know why?
Because you're dead.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not too bad.
It's swings and roundabouts, but
it's only the fact that you're dead. You're dead.
Yeah,
anyway, so.
Yeah, we can fix that.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get a move on because I will try and make this an hour and a half. But if it isn't, I really want to hurry this. I really want to hurry this one up. So how did we meet, Finlay?
Oh, we met at church, and because we were the only two people like around our age who went to 11 o'clock mass, we like sort of just talked to each other, and now you're like my older brother.
Yeah.
And like, I remember seeing you in school.
Yeah, so do I. I remember
we
seeing
weren't
you.
really.
Yeah, I knew who you were, but like I just saw you in school, but I never was like your mate until like I left school, and then like we just started talking at church.
Yeah, it was like I think it was the summer of when you left, wasn't it?
No, it was the autumn. About 6 months afterwards, yeah. So we've known each other now for about 4 years.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a long journey.
It's been a hot minute since we've kind of first met, and like we've formed this abomination of a friendship. Do you know what it is? Because you touched on the fact that like I'm kind of like your older brother. So like when I see you doing shit that I did when I was younger and it's really fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Like then I will get pissed off at you.
Yeah, it used to happen when I was like 14, 15.
Oh no, it happened this year as well. Don't even get it twisted.
Oh, I don't even want to get into it, let alone get it twisted.
But like, you like there are times when like at your age, well like at any age, because I've obviously been in your shoes probably about 2, 3, 4 years before you. So,
yeah.
Like, if I could have done shit differently, I'd do this. But when you do the same shit that I did, I'm kind of like, oh, for fuck's sake.
Well, come on, man.
Yeah, come on, Finlay.
Let's get it together.
Let's get it together. How's your sunburn, by the way?
Actually, not too bad. Man put some
Oh, shut up with your little man put some. So dead.
I'm not a road man, by the way, for anyone.
Yeah, no, but he acts like it.
I don't act like it. I don't carry around like a shang cord.
Okay. Well, how's your sunburn?
I put some after sun on it,
Bit of aloe vera.
Aloe vera.
Ooh. Aloe vera.
Ooh. Yeah, I put some of that on, and now I'm like, I've gone from salmon pink to like no, I've gone from raw salmon pink to cooked salmon pink.
Oh, nice.
So like it's I'm not as burnt now, but yeah. How's your day going, Craig, today? Do you wanna
It's going all right. I woke up about 2 hours ago when I was meant to wake up at 9. We're recording this at 2 o'clock, so yeah, I overslept by like 3 hours, but oh well. I got a phone call off my boss yesterday saying I have to go back into work 2 days earlier than I thought I was going to, which is
really?
great. Mm.
Wow.
Because they've said that I think I can talk about this. I don't see why I can't. They said that the first like week or so is like really busy because like obviously like no one's had a trim in like what, 4 months.
Oh yeah, no one would think.
So like no one's had like a proper trim in 4 months.
No,
So I should do a bit of context for people that haven't listened to an episode of the podcast before. I work at a barber shop.
that's probably
So
important.
yeah, so like
Beforehand.
essentially they've told me that I have to kind of really be not committed. That kind of is the wrong word, but like to kind of put the shop first for the next couple of weeks, which is fair because I'm employed by them. You know, I can't
Yeah,
just be like, you know, oh, you know, I can't be bothered. Sorry, guys. Like I've got to like kind of for the first couple of weeks put them first.
yeah,
Um, and then what will happen is like I'll be like part-time furloughed, and so what that means is that basically when I go back, in like 2 weeks or 2 weeks time, is when like it should be relatively back to normal. Um, and what they'll do is like if I'm not needed on a certain day, they'll just tell me to stay at home, which not only kind of saves them money, but also will save them kind of like the stress of having someone in a shop, you know,
yeah. I
because
get that.
we're still trying to minimize kind of how many people are actually in the shop at one time. So like, the first week is going to be like hell. Um,
Yeah, what is the
I,
procedure like barbers have to follow to in order to open?
um, we have to. I don't know too much because obviously I'm not involved in that sort of thing.
Yeah, yeah,
So like I can't speak for like what um I can't speak for my bosses. 'Cause I don't know. I haven't been involved in that conversation. But
yeah.
essentially, kind of what will happen is that you have to wear a face mask beforehand.
What if you're cutting hair or having your hair cut?
If you're having a hair, if you're going into a barber shop, you have to have your a mask on.
Okay.
Yeah. I believe that we are spacing people out 2 meters apart, or
No,
maybe less
they
than
changed
that.
it to 1 meter.
Yeah, I think it's 1 meter now, but like I think still kind of to keep people as far apart as possible.
Yeah,
There's an extra 15 minutes on top of your appointment now. So we usually cut in like half an hour blocks, but now they're 45 minutes because we need 15 minutes to kind of deep clean
feel that service.
your seat. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
and um, what we have to do as well is like we've been told to order our own visors, but everything else has been ordered for us. So like, you know, disposable masks, disposable gloves, disposable gowns, and things like that. And
yeah.
essentially, this would be like a proper procedure, basically, the next couple months or so, um, which is going to be really weird. Um,
I'm
but
thinking,
yeah, like,
would it be easier to like because obviously you said about wearing gloves. Yeah.
mm,
Wouldn't it be smarter to like just like sanitize your hands after every use? Because when you're wearing gloves, you're collecting the germs, aren't you? So and you can't really wash your hands when you got the gloves on. Wouldn't it just be smarter to do it bare hand and then just like sanitize after every cut and before every cut?
it's about your safety, not ours. So like, if we had something, um, or like we had like an open wound, like we could then pass on germs and stuff like that. So
Oh, okay.
we're essentially essentially everything in a barbershop that we do is not to keep ourselves safe. Most likely, it's just to keep you safe. So like we've been told to like minimize like talking and stuff like that. We've been told to like just kind of make sure that everything's done as cleanly and quickly as possible, essentially.
Yeah,
So these first couple weeks, I have no idea really what to expect, because it's going to be pretty weird, because like obviously the last time I was there was back in March, and like it was just before lockdown, and like it was kind of getting to a point now where like, you know, we were wearing gloves, you know, and like we kind of sensed that a lockdown was gonna come, and
yeah,
then like it did, and then, you know, I was expecting to come back a little bit later than July, but yeah, we actually wrote down COVID-19 as a topic to talk about on our kind of list. So I think now would be like a good point to talk about it.
yeah.
So like, what's your opinion on kind of everything kind of coming back to normal now on the 4th of July? To give context to everyone else listening, this will probably go out in August or so, but we're recording this on the 24th of June. So this is just before everything kind of comes back to normal. But yeah, Finlay, what are your thoughts on kind of COVID-19, the kind of lockdown coming to an end?
I think if we're gonna like the whole lockdown, I think it should have come earlier than what it did.
Yes.
I think everyone can sort of agree on that.
Mm.
Like, because I think I read somewhere like if Boris had locked down 2 weeks earlier, like half the people who are dead now wouldn't have died.
Yeah, so I think the correct actual quote is that it's literally a week before
Oh, was it a
would have
week?
saved a week would have saved 50% of people. So we're talking around 20,000 people would have been saved,
Yeah.
and the NHS would have been not as overwhelmed as it has been. I mean, obviously it's coped remarkably well,
Oh, yeah.
but there was a point in April or so where like it wasn't. And also, obviously, we're talking about 20,000 people. That's a lot of people. I think that's roughly how many people live in like Watford. You know, 90,000 inhabitants.
Really? That's it.
Yeah. So I mean, to be fair, you said 100,000, so like, that's 10,000 less. So
I don't want to say like, oh yeah, now is a great time because I know people are gonna have like conflicting points of view, but like
mm,
I think obviously the economy took like a 20% drop. I think.
yeah,
I think the exact number was 20.4.
yeah,
Obviously, that's a massive drop,
yeah. Um,
and I think the last biggest one was like 2 to 4% drop.
yeah. Um,
Like,
so going back to kind of how many people have died, essentially half of the population of Watford have died because of COVID-19 in the United Kingdom, and that's really bad.
that
Watford's
is
a
quite
large place. Watford is home to like we said, to thousands and thousands of people, and to have half of them basically go is ridiculous. But also to maybe have a quarter of them saved by maybe
locking down
um,
the earlier.
looking down a week earlier would have been so much more beneficial.
Yeah,
Um,
if it was 2 weeks
Now,
earlier, God
two
knows.
weeks or well, put it this way: if we had locked down beginning of March, right, we would be able to come back a lot sooner, and also we've been able to have saved over
So
half
many
as many people. Yeah, so many more people. And the economy would be in a lot stronger position as well, and also the NHS would be in a much stronger position than it has been as well.
Yeah,
Um,
because I like to use the look at what New Zealand's PM did.
mm,
her name's Jacinda something. I can't remember her surname, but
yeah,
like the minute there was like a few cases, she locked the country down like a hard proper
yeah,
lockdown, like no reason for going out.
yeah,
And now look at New Zealand, they're out. You're allowed to like they're allowing fans in stadiums with no social distancing, which
yeah,
is like amazing what she's done. But then you sort of got to go back to I think I think the stats like more people live in London than do New Zealand.
yeah,
So in that sense, you can say, oh, she had it easier than Boris in a way,
mm,
but she still like the principle still remains. The minute there was a few cases, she locked down straight away. Same with Ireland as
mm,
well. There was 10 cases and they shut down schools and
mm.
all that stuff. And
Mm.
I don't understand the reasoning for why Boris waited for it to get out of control.
So I think the main reason why, and what everything kind of has, again, I don't like to get too political on this podcast, but like I feel like sometimes when you are talking about kind of current affairs, you have to kind of be as non-biased as possible. But I will try my best. The argument is that we had to kind of balance between kind of saving lives and also kind of to keep the economy as strong as possible.
Yeah,
Now, essentially, the argument has been that the economy is not a golden goose. Like, there is no such thing as like an unlimited pit of money, and like what comes in also goes out as well.
yeah,
So like the money isn't just there, it comes in because us as a country, we do trade and we generate business and things like that, and that's where the economy comes from, and that's kind of where that money will then be able to come out to kind of you know have access to a furlough scheme, and also have access to be to kind of parachute payments for like businesses and stuff like that.
yeah. Of course,
you
of
know
course.
so essentially, because I remember listening to a Joe Rogan podcast with Elon Musk, his argument was basically saying, like, this is back in April as well. He said, we should be back to work now because the economy is failing, and that was his whole argument essentially. So I think kind of the whole argument over the last maybe 2 or 3 months or so has been what's safer, or like what's better, what's a better value to people, human life or monetary gain. And um, that's kind of been the whole thing with the economy over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, and also,
Mm,
like, if you put it on like a spectrum, and
mm,
and this is no like disrespect to anyone who's died or fell ill to it.
yeah.
On the spectrum of like smallpox, Spanish flu,
Mm,
isn't really like a. Obviously, it's deadly, but compared to what it
yeah.
could have been, it's not like if you're a fit, healthy, like human
Mm,
who's got no underlying health issues,
yeah.
the research has shown that you should be fine from it. I think
But
not
the
fine.
research, yeah.
You'll have
But
symptoms, but like it'll
mm,
be like a cold or like a mild flu. But obviously, I think a lot of people don't know that if they have underlying health issues,
mm.
that's when it becomes dangerous.
But the research also shows that it's, just because we're 18 and 16 respectively, sorry,
Yeah.
19 and 16 respectively, um, that you are safe from it, because you're not. Because
Oh,
there was someone who was like 23 that was working at a West Herts Hospital. He's working at Watford General, which is the same
yeah,
hospital that I was going to work at just a year ago. Uh, and he was 23 and he died. And had no underlying health issues at all. So
yeah.
this virus doesn't care if like you are strong, fit, or healthy. It doesn't care.
No,
It only cares that am I able to kind of infect you, and am I able to kill you? Yes or no. Also, what you got to remember is that the R value is kind of the most important factor in COVID-19 in kind of keeping the spread down. Now, yes, it is a deadly disease, and you could argue that it's just as deadly as the cold. You could argue it's just as deadly as kind of smallpox or whatever. But the point is that in March, that R value was about 2.6, about there,
yeah,
right? Which
because
means for every
COVID has a R value of 3. Like if you just like
yeah,
lived your life how like if
yeah,
you went back to normal, it would have an R value of 3, which is high.
yeah, yeah. So we were about 2.6 in March, which essentially means that for every person that was infected, you would infect another 2.6 people.
Yeah,
Which is a lot of people, and that's a very quick spreading virus. And just because you won't die from COVID-19 doesn't necessarily mean that you won't spread COVID-19 onto someone who would die from COVID-19. For example, if I officially don't. I've never had it, but there was a point where I thought I might have showed symptoms of having it, which is
Yeah,
why I got sent home from work. Um, but there was a point where, like, if I didn't know I had COVID-19, and I saw my nan or my granddad who has asthma, I think,
yeah,
they would have died.
yeah. That's when
You
it
know,
becomes deadly.
yeah, that's when it becomes deadly, and that's kind of where this idea of kind of, you know, being, you know, locking people down has been the safest thing to do. You know,
Yeah.
but maybe locking us down maybe 2 weeks early would have maybe have saved many more lives. And I think in the long run, maybe the economy isn't as important as human life. You know,
But you got to think.
um,
You sort of, I've been trying to think of it from sort of like Boris's view and how the Conservatives are trying to think of it. Like,
mm,
yeah, like saving human lives to us is the most important thing because we're not in a high sort of ranking of power.
mm.
Like me and you, we have like let's face it, we have no power in how
We're more of a statistic than a person to kind of
to them.
the
Yeah,
government. Yeah,
like they don't. I don't want to say they don't care, but they have more important things to worry about than just like me or you.
yeah,
So like I've been trying to think of it of the obviously I said it before they take a 20% dip in the economy.
mm,
It's sort of like do they don't want it to get worse. I think this is why. So in that sense, yes, now is the perfect time to reopen,
mm.
and like the daily deaths, it's going down. The number of cases going down. The people on mechanical ventilators, it's going down. Like everything's
Yeah.
going down. But this
But
is
I think the risk is now that maybe we've opened up too quickly and that number's going to rise again.
yeah,
That is the only issue I would have, or the only kind of concern that I have is maybe that just we've been lowered into a full sense because at the end of the day we're still dealing with a deadly virus that has an R value of around 3 and can kill people
oh
and
yeah, of
kind of
course.
and the thing is that it's not gone, it's still out there,
Yeah,
and more importantly is that it's still not curable. There is still no vaccine at this stage in time.
no,
So essentially, people people are still in danger or at risk of kind of getting that. So unless I'm proven wrong and there is no massive spread, if I don't know how many people live in the United Kingdom, but I think
I
it's
think it's like
around
6 million.
306 million. Yeah, no, that sounds
Oh,
pretty low. I think that's.
oh,
I think
60.
that's the. Yeah, hang on. Okay, let's just say London population, right? Because that's
It's
probably
66 million in England altogether.
8.9 million people live in London.
How many? 8.9.
8.9 million people live in London, right? So let's just say
Wow.
with London, which has kind of been the most heavily affected area, and if you're
Yeah,
talking kind of Greater London and kind of the green belt around London, you're at least talking 10 million people. You know,
yeah.
if
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 you're counting
10 million
Watford in that as
people,
well.
if 10 million people all disregard the rules, which they probably will do next Saturday, and they all go out and get a
Yeah,
haircut, and they all go to the pub, and they all start going to the cinema, and they all start doing things that kind of prevented us from spreading the virus. And more importantly, this virus is still out there, and there is no cure for this virus. People will begin to die again, and that is my main concern.
sorry. I've also
Yeah,
heard somewhere that apparently I'm not sure how true this is. This could have just been something that I've seen, and so but apparently 90% of people will be asymptomatic to this.
mm,
So for all we know, me and you could have caught it.
yeah,
Like our whole families could have caught it, but we don't know about it because
yeah. I
we're eight.
think that's been the most frustrating thing because, like, as I was saying, like, I was sent home because I was showing symptoms of it, but I can't sit here and say that I had it because realistically, what is there to say that I had it? Nothing. I was coughing for what 1 day. You know,
Yeah,
and then I was told that to go home because it was safe for me to go home, but I don't know if I've had it. And I think the government have also said that for the most part that COVID has that they're testing like 250,000 people a day or whatever, and that's just not true because like they're thousands and thousands of tests have just not been sent back.
Yeah, I think what they're trying to do is give like a rough estimate of how many tests. That's why you
Also, talking about rough estimates, the COVID-19 is kind of safe if the R value is, or any virus is safe if it's under the R value of 1, right?
So like we are under. I think we're in like
Yes.
it's like 0.7 to 0.9, which is
Yeah.
I think it's stupid. Like 0.9.
Yeah, because that's what I was saying. So like 0.7 to 0.9 is a massive kind of scale to kind of say 0.7 is like okay, it's not too bad, but it's kind of still up there. 0.9, we're ready to go back to lockdown again.
Yeah, that's
So like
in some
you've
areas.
got to draw a line somewhere.
Yeah, like I think it's so strange. Obviously, we've never seen this before. Obviously, we've seen like SARS and MERS, but like this is just like a new strain which we don't know about. That's why
Yeah.
I don't know. I think more people are going to get either hurt or killed from the vaccine
Yeah.
because we're rushing it out,
Yeah.
and scientists are doing an amazing job at the moment. Obviously, like let's not discredit them. Like they're doing an amazing job, like protecting us. But I just think that we shouldn't be rushing it. We shouldn't be rushing into this. I think obviously be very precautious when like around people, like especially if you don't know. Obviously, this disease isn't gone, so just be super careful. Obviously, we don't know what it's going to be like in August. In August, when this goes out, there could just be like a death a day.
Yeah.
Like we simply just don't know.
There could be a vaccine tomorrow, and we don't know.
There could be. Like we have to wait what it sees. But as of the 24th of June, just stay careful. Like,
and also like, I think everyone should kind of take everything that we said as an opinion, not a fact.
oh yeah, we are not qualified in to be.
Yeah, we've not fact checked a lot of this. That what we just said. This is kind of just going off what we've read and kind of our own knowledge and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So like, we might have said something that isn't 100% factual, but kind of these are our opinions at this moment. I think we've kind of made it quite clear that like, COVID isn't over, and that it's been, it's kind of, what's it called? It's still not safe out there, but like it's safe enough to kind of maybe kind of resume some of our daily lives and kind of begin to restart the economy.
I think as long as you distance yourself from people you don't know, and especially people who you do know, because you don't want to infect them too much. As long as from the 4th of July you keep a meter plus apart from other people, you should be the general consensus. You should be okay.
Yeah, I think as long as kind of our borders are closed, there shouldn't be any more spread of the virus.
No.
Essentially, now that we're all locked in, or like the majority of us are locked into this country now, like there shouldn't be any new cases coming in. So we should be relatively okay. But again, in 2 weeks' time, there could be a massive spike, and we might have to go back into lockdown again. Who knows?
Yeah, that could be, and then we're in serious trouble then.
So we've obviously spoken about COVID-19 and obviously kind of the effects that that's had over the last couple months.
Yeah.
But something else that has kind of come into fruition over the last kind of maybe month or so has been the Black Lives Matter movement and the death of George Floyd in America.
That was a video to watch, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was.
Like that
that was definitely a tough thing to kind of watch and kind of, you know, that whole thing is completely messed up.
Like it's opening people's eyes to
Mm,
what's going on.
yeah, it's been really great to see so many messages on social media and kind of see how loud people can be. So I think that's kind of, you know, what's because I've never lived through a period of my life where I've seen kind of the Black Lives Matter movement be so vocal, you know, be so vocal for so long. Because this is, I think we're talking a month after George Floyd's death, and you know, it is still a very kind of predominant thing at the moment. You know, and I can only hope that when this comes out that it's still going. You know, and that people are still talking about it and people still having those difficult conversations.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't want to feel like, oh yeah, that's the worst part, but that is the maybe friends who don't fully understand, or
mm.
I think systemic racism is definitely a thing. Like,
Oh
let's
yeah,
not get
100%. Systemic racism is a thing. More importantly, I think if you look at it, systemic racism, the story of America is the story of race relations, and I think anyone that denies that is an idiot.
yeah,
Um, you know, that country was built on slavery, and that country was then proceeded for the next 100 years or so to kind of be all about race relations and equal rights. And then even now, you know, we're looking at a time where we thought that there was equality for everyone, and that there really isn't. So I think the history of America is the history of race, uh,
yeah,
and I also think that I'd be very stupid to deny or not talk about the fact that Britain is built on systemic racism. Even if you go back more than 500 years, um, you know, when Henry VIII wanted a divorce from his wife, he decided to go to the Pope and say, "Oh, do you know, I want a divorce off this girl." And then the Pope was like, "Nah, sorry, mate." And then all of a sudden, people in Britain didn't want to take any orders from Europe, um, which kind of is quite a relevant topic today. I mean, it's called Euroscepticism. Essentially, like that's kind of what the whole argument of Brexit was built on.
oh
Euroscepticism. Do you want to take any orders from someone on a continent somewhere in Brussels? You know, but I think the point still stands that, you know, like people in Britain have systemically, you know, our society has been built on the fact that we don't trust people from Europe,
yeah,
and you know, and more importantly, I think, you know, people from Britain haven't treated black people the same way, well, the way they should have been, you know, and
yeah, of course,
you know, it is really heartbreaking to kind of see kind of what's been said and kind of see a lot of my close friends really go through a lot of shit over the last kind of 2 3 weeks. Um,
yeah. It's like
yeah,
I guess like I don't know. It's such a sensitive topic,
mm,
but I think it should like obviously you should speak about it with people
yeah,
like you should be like talking to people about it because that's how change happens.
mm,
Obviously, it starts off with something bad happening. Obviously, the death of George Floyd, horrific.
mm. But even before that, you know, the bad things happening for the last
Well,
two,
yeah,
300 years, people being taken from their homes and being forced to work, and then, you know, being treated like second class citizens for like 200 years,
oh yeah,
longer even.
I'm saying like, but George Floyd has been like for this especially this like his death and has sort of like opened a can of worms.
Mm.
Like so
People
now people are
people have essentially had enough of kind of this treatment, and I sat here and thought in 2020, is this really where we're at? You know, where, you know,
yeah,
there where society has been built on systemic racism, and that it was viewed as okay for a cop to stand on a man's neck for 8 minutes and 48 seconds.
yeah,
You
it was a
know,
long time. It was like
mm,
it was just like it's so like the fact it's the fact that we still even have to talk about it
Mm.
in a way is sad. Because like, how have people not learned?
I um I've been, for a lack of a better word, I have been very privileged over the last year and a half or so to be a part of the RADA Youth Company. For those who don't know, I have spoken a little bit about the RADA Youth Company um, before on the podcast. Masood, who is also a member of the RADA Youth Company, joined me for episode 3 of the podcast. Um, during the last couple of months, I've been very privileged to see many shows and be part of many workshops that have spoken upon race relations. I think I viewed in total about 4 or 5 shows that have touched on the topic of race. And I've been part of, I think, 2 workshops that have touched on the topic of race relations and unconscious bias and things like that.
Yeah.
I realise that I'm in a very lucky position to learn about that. I realise that I'm very lucky to be one of 16 people to have been in that room and to have learned about that. And my eyes have been opened massively over the last, 10 months or so. So I think it's really important that we're having these conversations
Oh yeah, of
because
course, 100%.
even 10 months ago or so, like, to have those conversations were a real privilege, and to have those conversations and to learn was so beneficial for myself, and I know lots of other people. So I think that going forward there should be more conversations, because then that's kind of what begins education. There should be more education, and I'm 100% behind beginning to kind of educate people in our schools about Black history, and kind of understanding why that's so important. And the BBC have recently pledged £100 million over the next 3 years to include more diverse television programs and things like that, and entertainment, because it is just so important, and because I think we need to send a message in as many ways as we possibly can,
That raises
about yeah.
because like it's also like I'm quite naive to it because I don't understand like
Yeah.
how you can like let's say you go for a job, how you can be picked just because of something you can't control. Like that's how I see it.
Mm.
I don't fully understand it, and I guess in that way I'm quite privileged because I'm I know I'm definitely not racist, but I have ever since George Floyd's death, I've been trying to think how other
Mm.
racists think, and it's so like difficult to wrap your head around it
Yeah.
if you're not racist. Like,
Mm.
and that's why we need.
I suppose the most important thing over the last 3 weeks is to recognise that just being not racist isn't good enough, and that being actively anti-racist is the main thing.
Oh yeah, of course.
Um, and I think as well, the most important thing for a lot of people, especially white people, I'd say, is to maybe recognise that we haven't done enough, but
Oh, yeah,
it's okay to recognise it and try and change.
yeah, like if
That that's been the most important thing over the last kind of 2-3 months, sorry, 2-3 weeks or so, is to realise that maybe we haven't done enough, and it is now time to actively change and to actively be vocal about systemic racism and be actively anti-racist.
yeah, because there's so much being like, oh yeah, I'm not racist. Like, you need to show it.
Yeah.
Like even if it's just posting something on your story to say
Mm.
how you can access something. Like,
Yeah.
you don't have to be like, let's say, going to protest. You don't have to do that as long as you're doing something to show you're not
Mm.
racist and proving you're anti-racist is like
Yeah.
going forward.
It's not even about proving it. It's no. I am not anti-racist just because I want to be, or like just because it paints me in a good light. I'm being anti-racist because I want to be anti-racist, and that I have friends who are, black and minority, and I'm there to support them.
Yeah,
That's the most important thing. And yeah, it's kind of been a really tough 2-3 weeks to have these conversations and to have kind of to see everything that's been going on in the media at the moment.
needed to solve this problem.
Mm,
And also this, I think some people think that this will just go overnight. Like,
yeah.
I genuinely think it's going to take a few generations for race
Mm,
itself to be completely wiped out because it's taught, isn't it?
mm. Which is why, and unfortunately, we've seen the scenes in Westminster kind of over the last couple of weeks. The very peaceful Black Lives Matter protests and kind of some of the more violent protests that have been kind of, there are horrible scenes in Westminster about 2 weeks ago, where there were images of white people doing Nazi salutes, and that's just not on.
No, it's not.
That has been the most awful thing. So I agree with you in the fact that it's going to take a lot of generations to kind of maybe solve this completely. But if we can be that generation that
Start
pushes it, starts that conversation and can really begin that first proper massive push to kind of achieve equality for everyone. I think that's what everyone wants, regardless of your gender or race or sexuality. Everyone would want equality for everyone, and
Yeah, of
it
course.
is gonna take a very long time for that to happen. But I think now is the right time to begin that conversation because it clearly hasn't been started before us. So I think we should now take that into our hands and say that we should maybe begin to push that message forward.
Yeah, our generation should be the one to
Yeah.
uh, just because that's what it's beginning a conversation like with your
Mm,
child or with your grandchildren or
yeah.
whoever. Like even if it's like family friends who are like younger or or with younger cousins or
Yeah.
whatever, it's starting that conversation with them. As
Yeah.
awkward, as awkward as it might be, right? And I can appreciate how for some people it might be awkward because obviously not everyone's as open as you may think or whatever. But
Mm,
it's needed that initial conversation is the hardest one.
yeah.
It simply just gets easier from there.
Mm,
Like the talking about it gets easier.
yeah. I think that's a good place to kind of end that conversation. I think we've touched upon that. Um, I would just like to say that we have tried to handle that conversation in the most sensitive way that we possibly could have done. And also, at the top of this podcast and every podcast, there is a link to a card to a Black Lives Matter webpage where you can see as many links as you can for petitions or information or donations. And that will be at the top of this podcast as well.
Yeah,
Um,
and I also want to put if you're if you are one of those these all lives matter or white lives matter, please go do one. Like
yeah, shut the fuck up. So, I've spoken to lots of people that have wanted careers in kind of a more creative place. So,
like
like
drama and all that.
drama, film, that sort of place is where I've spoken to a lot of people. Um, but you are slightly different because you want to work in athletics.
Yeah, rugby more so because
That's what I meant.
yeah, like I want to work in like I want to work in like a sports environment, whether it's playing or coaching or whatever. But I definitely want to be in that sort of sector, like the sports sector,
Yeah.
because I've never been really good at. I don't want to be like, oh, I've never been really good at anything, and then this just came along. But like,
Mm.
this is the one thing I've found that I'm actually decent at,
Yeah.
and I know like I know it's so cringy to say, but like I know if I work hard at it, and I put my all into it,
Yeah.
there's a better chance of it happening.
Mm.
And like,
I think that's the aim for every person is to kind of find something that they like and find something that they're willing to put like 110% into and then really go for it.
oh yeah, of course, that's human nature wanting to do something you're good at and
Freak of nature.
freaking nature,
A freak of nature.
as you can tell by his fine physique.
Fine physique. I'm a freak of nature.
You know, a specimen of movement. But yeah, like I think it takes such hard work. I think that's what people don't realize.
Mm,
Like it's such hard work and dedication to
be an athlete.
yeah. And like I don't want to call myself be like, oh, I'm such an athlete, YOLO, but like I'm trying to live that lifestyle the best I can.
Mm,
Like yeah, I'll have like the odd snack or but like that's like everyone does that. Like everyone does that just to keep sane, let alone like work I'm I'm not naturally smart. I think that's why I like sport as well. I'm not naturally smart like others are, and I've noticed that for a while now. I've
well,
definitely
you're dumb as fuck.
yeah, pretty much like I've got like especially when it comes to school, like that's when it really gets on my nerves because it's like when am I ever gonna need to know Pythagoras' theorem ever again? Have you used it in
Mm. I finished my GCSEs 4 years ago, and I can confirm I've never used it.
Thank you. So the most of the stuff we learn we don't use again, right?
Yeah.
Like obviously it's different if you want to go into like science research or
Mm.
like that's different. But like if it's for someone like me or if, like I know the majority of kids, they would rather do something more practical.
Yeah.
Like
I think the world is changing in terms of like what people want to do, and people are taking more kind of active careers in terms of like maybe not being at home. You know, I mean,
yeah,
obviously this lockdown has kind of proved that you can work from home, but I think a lot of people now are beginning to maybe realize that you know there is so many ways now because of mainly the internet and things like that to make money. You know, that
yeah,
maybe like having a career behind you know in an office isn't really what they want anymore.
no, and that's like mate, like, and there will still be a few people out there, and if that's what they want to do, that's fine, right?
Yeah.
Like, you can still have a respectable career if you work in an office, right? Like,
Mm,
I think more people are wanting to have more active jobs
mm,
because humans are not meant to sit at a desk and press print and go to the filer and like we're
yeah.
not built to do that. Like we're built to run, we're built to hunt. Obviously, hunting now is a bit useless unless it's for the last toilet roll at Asda. But
Mm,
I think like we're meant to be active.
mm,
Like we're not meant to be sitting on our asses all day.
yeah.
And
I
that
find my mental health is best when I am exercising.
yeah,
I
and it,
find I find whenever I'm not exercising, I usually end up in quite a depressive state. You know?
what when you're not?
Yeah. So like, I haven't been in the gym for 4 months, but like whenever I go for a run, it usually really helps.
Yeah, and it will because it releases is it dopamine it releases?
I don't know, mate.
It
I
releases
did
it
I
releases
did
a chemical.
BTEC PE.
Oh, that's not even GCSE.
Yeah, so I said BTEC.
But yeah, like there's like I think like which is not like it releases a chemical that makes you feel good after
Mm,
you exercise, right?
yeah.
And that's what we're built to do. That's how we will stay happy,
Mm,
even if you're not like. And I hate when people make excuses. Like that really gets on my nerves.
yeah.
Why they can't exercise. It's like what you're telling me you haven't got a spare 10 minutes out of your 24-hour day.
I mean, to be fair, it
Like
is it is difficult. Um, you know, when I work on a Wednesday, I usually wake up about 8 o'clock, go to work for about 10 o'clock, and then I will finish work at 8 o'clock, get home at 10. So like, I've fallen asleep on Wednesday nights in my clothes with the light on. Like, I'm that exhausted. You know,
And
it
I think that's
is
why
difficult.
I can appreciate that people. I appreciate people may find it difficult, but I think it's just that initial motivation.
Mm,
Even if it does mean waking up a little bit earlier, or like, 'cause some mornings to go to the gym, I'd be up at 4:30. Well, I didn't want to do that, but I know I'd feel good through school.
yeah,
I know that in the long term of that day, I'd feel good. I
yeah.
think if you've never experienced that, it's hard to believe, which I totally get. But like,
Mm,
yeah, it's when, especially when people have done it and they make excuses. It's just like, okay, mate,
mm.
like,
I think it's not necessarily about kind of doing things because you have to, but doing things because it makes you happy.
yeah, it should be about.
And if it's not an hour in the gym, but it's like 30 minutes of meditation or like 20 minutes of yoga, I think that's just as important.
Yeah, like
You know.
any sort of activity, like even yoga, like that still gets the blood rushing around. It still releases dopamine, like, or whatever
Mm,
that chemical's called. I don't know. Like, it's still gonna make you feel good.
mm,
Like, 'cause I think people, like, honestly, whenever I felt sad, I've never thought, oh yeah, I'll go to a therapist. Or if I've ever felt angry, I won't think, oh, I'll go talk to someone. I've been for a run, or I've
mm.
gone to the gym and I've lifted weights, or
Although sometimes, because
it does help. Yeah,
speaking from someone that has both been, I wouldn't call myself an athlete at one point, but there was a time where I took boxing very seriously.
yeah, of course.
Um, and obviously, there has also been a time in my life where I've also taken therapy very seriously, or counselling, or whatever you want to call
Yeah.
it. Um, both of them are equally as important. I would say your physical health and your mental health are the two most important things in your life.
Oh
You
yeah, of
know,
course. I'm not saying.
so what I would say is that some that they're not they sort of are hand in hand. Like there is science to suggest that you will feel better through exercise, but like you know, if your dad's died, you're not going to go, oh shit, I'm going to go for a run and feel better. Like, nah, that takes
No,
therapy, man.
that's sort of different though. If someone, I mean, like if you've had a bad, I mean, like if you've had like a bad day at work, or
Mm,
like there's a there's a difference between being like clinically depressed and just having like a bad day at work. And I think, like,
mm.
obviously talking, I think
Why
what I
have one when you can have both? Am I right?
ah,
That's me.
the spirit.
Yeah.
But I think, like, if you're gonna, like, obviously I've noticed that when I worked out, I feel better about myself. Like, obviously, if you are in that like state where you feel nothing's gonna get better, I think at that stage talking to someone's probably a good idea. I think, yeah, if you're gonna, like, if you're clinically depressed or like something along those lines, that's probably a good stage to go. Yeah, I should probably get some talkative help. Can I say that, talkative help?
Some
Is that
professional helpers, I think the correct terminology.
yeah? Like, you should probably get some professional help if
Mm,
you are in that state. But I think if you just had a bad day at work, or
mm,
you know something didn't go your way, I think exercising is perfect for that.
mm.
But like, obviously, I know different people work in different ways, and
Yeah.
I understand not everything can be helped with just going for a run. But from what I've learned through like going on runs and exercising, that obviously when you're running, it's like, obviously running's difficult, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you sort of,
I find running beyond difficult sometimes, like, because I'm training at the moment for like boxing and stuff like that, and there
yeah,
isn't much I can do. Kind of my first reaction was like, right, I'm gonna work on my cardio as much as I can, and my cardio has been 10 times better than it was before lockdown. But what I would say is that running is the hardest thing I've ever done, and I'm still not good at it.
yeah, like I think you could be, and this is another thing that like I don't know, like I think work, what hard work beats talent every day. Like
Yes.
you can be, I think that's why I don't like to say that because if I tell myself talent doesn't exist, then it actually makes me push harder.
Mm.
Because I think, oh, I'm not good at this, so therefore I need to work hard.
Yeah.
Because if you tell yourself you're good at something, that can either go two ways. Either, oh, I'm good at this, I want to be even better, or yeah, I'm already quite good at this,
Mm.
don't need to train. But if you're thinking, if you really want to do something, you're thinking, oh, I'm not really that good at this,
Mm.
but you also need to having the back of mind that you want to do it.
Mm.
It's a complicated sort of topic that, but yeah, I just think running helps with your mental health, talking helps.
Boxing helps. I think me and Lucas spoke about it a little bit on the podcast, and we said that kind of boxing is a really great way to kind of alleviate some aggression in people,
Oh yeah, of course.
because you do it in a safe environment. It's not just a scrap. It's like a proper safe sport in which you can take out your aggression, and then at the end of it, you shake hands with someone and you say, "Yeah, like good fight, man."
Yeah, it's an art.
Yeah. But more going to back to kind of what you were saying about um, wanting to be a rugby player.
Yeah.
How did that start for you then?
So I started playing. It's actually quite. It's not complicated, but it's weird. It's like so I started training when I was 13, turning 14. So I joined. So my birthday's in October.
Mm,
I joined in the September, so it was a month before my 14th birthday.
yeah,
So I was 13 when I joined, and I'd had a few training sessions,
yeah,
and I was getting alright at it. I wasn't the best because obviously I'd never played it, but I got the gist of it quickly,
mm-hmm,
and we're having a training session, and towards the end of it, we have like a match situation to sort of practice everything we've done.
yeah,
And I remember I'm running, I break through the line. For anyone who doesn't know that, obviously there's like a defensive line. If you run past it, that's breaking the line.
mm-hmm,
I do that, and as I'm getting to the try line, I feel someone pull my shirt, so I instinctively dive towards the line
yeah,
to get the try, like the points,
mm-hmm,
and I just fold in on myself.
yeah. Was that when you had your
My ankle break.
oof?
That was quite a serious break as well. That wasn't even like,
Mm,
oh, you sprained it, you'll be fine in 2 weeks and you'll be back. No, I was out for a year with that injury.
yeah,
Like, I remember just hearing the sound and knowing instantly,
mm-hmm,
like tree bark snapping. It was like, and at first I thought I was hearing things. I thought, no, I'm just hearing it. Like I've landed on something. It's just me that
mm-hmm,
heard it. And I can see the people around me are like, oh no, he's broken his ankle. Like he's broken something. Like, because the guy who broke my ankle heard it, and like the people
yeah,
who heard it. So that's when I sort of knew something was wrong.
mm-hmm,
And then I sort of like, obviously, like I'm in pain. I'm like screaming a little bit, and I was screaming like a wimp. I think I can say that, can't I?
mm,
I was screaming.
sure.
I wasn't screaming like a wimp, but like grunting. If that.
Oh yeah. Oh, break my ankle, Daddy.
No, no, come on,
Break it harder.
nah, come on, man. That's gonna. No, that is.
Anyway, keep going, keep going, keep going. So you broke your ankle.
I broke my
Then,
ankle. I
then,
And then
then you got it fixed.
yeah, like we go to hospital. My mum thought it was sprained at first, actually,
mm,
because I wasn't like showing any. Obviously, apart from the massive fucking swelling on my ankle,
yeah.
is showing any sort of like pain to it.
Mm,
Obviously, apart from when someone touched it or something like that. I was actually quite jolly because my adrenaline was
Mm.
pumped through, trying to keep me from not hurting.
Oh, yes, family, I have broken my ankle. I am so happy right now.
No, but like I was in like an up jolly mood.
You were in an up jolly mood. I've never heard anyone say up jolly before.
Well, we can add that to the Booklish language.
Shut up, Beaky.
Shut up, fanboy.
Shut
Anyway,
up.
they're like, yeah, you've broken 2 bones in 3 places, and it's likely you're going to need surgery. And then I was like, oh, okay, that's great. And then yeah, spent a year out, and then I came back really unfit.
Mm,
And I've really worked hard this last season to improve.
mm,
And on my first season back, I won most improved,
mm-hmm.
which is what it's one of those awards like
Yeah,
like next year I want best player
yeah,
or players player.
mm,
Like that's what I'm striving for.
yeah,
Like I don't mind if I don't score all the tries, but I will always be the hardest worker on the field.
mm-hmm,
Like no matter what anyone thinks, but I will always be the hardest worker.
mm-hmm.
No matter like, you can be really unfit, but like as long as your hard work shows,
Yeah,
you're gonna get noticed at one point.
yeah. I found it really hard when I had my injury in boxing last year. Oh, sorry, this year. Sorry, because I had obviously my nose broke when I was 7. I got it fixed this year,
Yeah,
and obviously I was out for like 3 months. I couldn't box for 3 months, and obviously the pandemic hit, so I haven't been able to go back to boxing since. So it's been like a year since I boxed someone properly.
yeah.
So I'm
You-
itching. I'm itching to get back into that ring and just like box someone out.
Honestly, mate, it's the same over here. It's like
Mm,
obviously for you, you've been out of it for a bit longer, but
mm,
like pre-season for me was supposed to be starting in like July time with Oakland,
mm. Yeah.
and that's not gonna happen now. I've got an email
Mm,
from them saying it should be happening in August, but
yeah.
like I want to show myself earlier, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I want to show that I'm the hardest worker on the field. And I've,
Mhm.
and I've been working a lot on my cardio because that's like my weakest point.
Yeah. Same. Yeah.
Like cardio's and I've been working on like conditioning and sprinting as well because
Mm,
I know if I'm somewhat fast, I know if I can like keep my weight, then that'll be sort of alright. Obviously,
yeah.
I don't want to be like fat,
Yeah.
but like I don't want to
But
be
you,
like
but you,
skinny
but
with a
you
stick.
don't want to be breaking people's beds either, do you, Finlay?
No, I don't, Craig. I
Mm,
don't want to be breaking anyone's bed.
mm.
Sending slight shots. You love sending slight shots. Like,
Finlay came around my house in December and he was on a bed and he broke it in about 5 minutes.
it was a very weak bed, to be fair.
You are a very heavy man, though.
I am a very heavy man, but
Yeah. How much do you weigh at the moment?
I haven't weighed myself in ages. But I think I've lost a good. I think I was 103. I think I'm at 100 now.
100 what? kg?
Yeah,
Damn. I
I'm
need
still
to lose like
quite big, but I've lost a lot of weight and I've gained a lot of pace. So hopefully
I need to lose about 25 pounds, I think.
that's a lot, man. That's like 10
Mm.
kg.
Is it?
What, 20 pounds?
Oh, hang on.
45
Sorry,
20.
sorry, hang on. I may have said something incorrect there. I need to work out. So, 100 and, 155 pounds, which is lightweight in boxing, is 70 kilograms. I weigh 75 kilograms, which is about 175.
So you
So
need to lose
I need to lose 5 kilograms. Isn't it a lot? If we put that in stones, I need to lose 0.7 stone to kind of get to my fighting weight, which isn't actually that much.
No, you could do dieting and all that. You could definitely
Mm,
lose that.
yeah, it's just like without access to a gym, without access to a boxing gym, that is very hard. Because I
I know, you
prefer,
could do like run
my,
and sprint
yeah,
and
but I prefer my training to be kind of like active. or like be like in the zone. You know what I mean? Because
No, yeah, I get you.
I really struggle to like just go to the gym because I want to look good. I will go to the gym if I'm gonna fight someone. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, I get you 100%. Yeah.
Mhm. But going back to kind of rugby and stuff like that, where do you want your career to go? I mean, obviously, I know the end goal is to be a professional rugby player, but how do you see yourself getting there? Roughly,
Well, fun.
roughly, how do you think you're going to get there?
I think I'm gonna join a rugby college, not a rugby
Mm,
college, but like a college that supplies um that like a facility.
mhm.
Well, I've been to visit two.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's Oakland's and St Albans,
Mhm.
but there's one that's actually it's like it's further away, but it's a quicker journey from here.
Yeah. Mhm.
Called Malton College. It's in Northampton,
Mhm.
and it's literally just like a train journey, and the train's
Yeah.
like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
So like
That's
from
quicker than it. That's quicker than the time it takes me to get to Boreham Woods for college.
yeah, so
Minimum hour and a half.
yeah, so like I don't mind having to travel from Watford to Northampton every day.
Mm.
Like that's honestly not that much of a big deal for me. And I
Don't
think
you
that
get free? Don't you get free tickets as well because your dad works on the train?
yeah, my dad works at the junction, so I can get like free travel. So that's why I think it'd be more convenient as well.
Yeah. Oh, I'd love to get free travel.
Yeah, like honestly,
That
like
that the microphone did pick that up.
honestly, I'll hook you up. Like it'll be calm. I'm joking, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, like, I don't. I think I like at Molten I felt more comfortable.
Mm.
Like
Because
Oakland,
I was going to go to Rickmansworth School, which is actually closer. But then I was more comfortable at Elstree, so I was like, I'd rather travel further to be at Elstree.
yeah, and like honestly, like, a train journey doesn't really affect me that much. Like
Mm.
it's not that far.
Yeah.
Like and just I know like so see so the way like if everything went perfectly and smoothly, like no injuries, I'd go to
Yeah.
Malton or Oakland, play there for 2 years,
Mm.
get into the first team as soon as I can,
Mhm.
get spotted by either Saracens Academy
Fam, you've been
or
chatting shit about Saracens, though.
I know, but like if they're willing to have me, then
I wanted to be a rugby player once upon a time. This is going back at least 10 years. And I wanted to play for Saracens.
or Northampton Saints. That would
Yeah.
I think that would be my preferred destination.
Yeah.
Play in their academy, really impress at the academy,
Mhm.
and get like a senior contract.
Yeah.
Like that would be like the perfect plan.
Yeah.
But obviously, I know things don't work how as it should. So then, but so if I don't get a contract, I want to get a scholarship somewhere.
Yeah.
I like. I've been looking at. Oh, no, I'm gonna be. I've been looking at Welsh teams like Cardiff Met,
Yeah.
Swansea, Hartbury as well. They have excellent facilities.
Mhm.
I've just been looking at everywhere that has like a great rugby program,
Yeah.
and like I know eventually, and if it doesn't happen, then it's like fair enough. No, I've given it my all. But
Yeah.
I know if I give it my all, college is obviously 2 years, uni's 3 or 4.
Mhm.
Like the 5 6 years of giving it my all.
Mhm.
Like I know eventually the likelihood is it will happen.
Yeah.
But I know that obviously getting into professional sport is so difficult.
Yeah. I mean, like it's the same with me in acting because like I've worked really hard 2 years at college, and now I'm looking to go to drama school and put in another 3 years of work. So like, you know, it is difficult, but like if you're willing to put in the hours and you're willing to put in the work, you will get somewhere.
Yeah, and
Luck is when luck is when opportunity meets preparation. So if you're willing to put in the work and you're willing to prepare for that opportunity, people will see you and people will say, "Yeah, do you know what? We'll let you in.
yeah, and that's
We'll
all it
give you a
is.
shot."
And I think you can be naturally blessed with being able to gain muscle easily and being tall and but I think if someone's smaller than you and like not as good, but they're willing to put in more work,
Mhm.
and coaches see that, they're gonna pick them over you every day. Like,
Mhm.
so that's why I need to be the hardest worker.
100%, man.
I believe I will. It's like it's not like as long as and this goes for anyone out there. Like if you want to go into the business game or
Mhm.
the fighting game for you or for
The
anyone.
fight, the face of the fighting game.
From the fight of the fighting game,
Yeah. Look at this physique. I'm a freak of nature.
As you can tell by my fine
Fine
physique,
physique. I'm a freak of nature.
you know, Honest- that is literally me after like 10 push-ups. It's fine
Have you
physique.
seen the one that I put on my story every now and again after a boxing session? It's usually on a Sunday night.
Yeah.
The strength, no weakness, man. No, he's like a boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Strength, no weakness. We don't do weakness. We do muscle. That's me. That's me.
That is
Uh,
fun of that one. Was that saying?
I think that's a very good place to end it. Actually,
Yeah, I think we've covered a lot. I think.
we've covered everything that we wanted to talk about.
Is there anything else
yeah.
you want to talk about, or?
Not for me personally, but if there's anything you want to shout out at the moment, this is your place.
Oh God, so much pressure.
Anything at all, man. If you got anything you're working on, any projects or stuff like that, or like you got someone or something, or that you're really passionate about, just let it out.
Honestly, just follow my Instagram.
Wow, that's very okay. Well, your Instagram will be in the bio anyway. So
Wait, yeah, I'll be when the season starts. I'll be posting on there about like rugby and like highlights. So just show some love when the season starts. That'll be in like a few weeks when this goes out.
Wow.
So yeah, just show some love.
How shallow.
I'll do something about it.
Do something about it.
Go on, do something about it.
Okay, well, that brings us to the end of this podcast. Finlay, thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me. I've really enjoyed it.
I'm going to go to Asda now and buy some ice cream because I'm fucking boiling.
He's from downstairs and crying.
I'm dying. But yeah, thank you very much for joining me in this episode of the podcast. Thank you all very much for listening, and I will hear from you all next week.
I'll probably hear from you in like 2 seconds, but
you really had to ruin my outro, didn't you? You bastard.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I'll let you do your outro.
You bastard. You bastard.
Do your outro now, Boogie boy.
Bye-bye.
See you later, guys.
Dickhead.